Not to get ahead of ourselves, but this could be the start of the fall of the Reform Party. Now, if you followed the news from the UK for the last day or so, you would have noticed Reform UK chairman Zaya Yusuf has decided to resign completely from the party. Everything associated with the party. Now, you might be wondering what the hell has caused this to happen. Don't worry, sit back and I will explain it to you. On Wednesday, as usual, the members of parliament gathered all together in the House of Commons to have a discussion on what to do and how to improve the state of the country. But one of the members of the parliament, representative of the Reform UK, decided to ask whether or not the Prime Minister is willing to impose a burqa ban. If you don't know what that is, that's kind of like an outfit that Muslim women usually wear that covers all parts of their body. Now, obviously, the chairman of the Reform Party, being Muslim himself, I would assume, had some problem with it. And it kind of makes sense, right? Him being Muslim, he probably sees the way they do things as the right way. But the person that asked the question, her being British, had problem with it that, hey, this shouldn't be in this country. And from that, you had A, B, C, bang, 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 and all of a sudden, he's decided to resign. But kind of asked the question, if it's that easy for you to get a chairman of the whole party, out of the whole party, how can you actually govern a whole country when you can't even govern your own inner circle? This is to the Reform voters. Now, everything I said, the leader of the Reform Party, Nigel Farage himself, probably has different opinions as to what actually led up to him resigning completely from the whole party. And we're about to check it out right now. But before we get into today's video, it will be massively appreciated if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, and also if you like the video, drop a like. Let's get into it.
Frankly, I'm sad that he's going. I'm sad for the party because he leaves a gap. I'm sad for him, actually, because I spoke to him yesterday morning, and I felt, he's kind of had enough of all of this. Then Sarah Pochin asked that question in the Commons. He then put a sort of slightly intemperate tweet out. That and I could tell reading that tweet, I just thought, he's not coming in tomorrow.
No, absolutely no. He's trying to frame this as, oh, he's always had an intention to leave in the first place. So, this was never really, no, it's like this guy so clearly has someone that represents that religion. So, hey, this is not really kind of the thing that I would expect you guys to be voting for. It kind of goes against what I believe. And obviously he's come to a conclusion that, all right, okay, clearly supporting these guys is clearly not the right thing for me to do. Clearly it goes against my own self-interest as someone that's religious, Muslim specifically. And obviously he believes in that kind of stuff. But the Reform Party, obviously they don't believe in that. So he obviously decided, okay, this is clearly like the final nail in the coffin. I have to leave now. But he's trying to frame it as like, oh yeah, was always going to leave anyways. No way.
So he disagreed. He thought Sarah shouldn't have asked a question about the burqa. And there's a debate around that, is it a main priority, etc. But look, I'm sad. And I think public life has lost somebody very talented and somebody who's come from within the ethnic minorities that is intensely patriotic about this country. That's a loss.
I find it hilarious that these people, they always talk about freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of the media. People to which you do what they want as long as they don't, like infiltrate or like disturb anyone. You should be able to do what you want on your own. But obviously, the freedom to be able to do what you want on your own doesn't extend to people that are Muslim, to Islam in general, okay? Anything that has to do with Islam, anything that has to do with like Islamic people migrating into this country, like that freedom doesn't extend all the way to them. You have freedom of speech, freedom to do what you want, freedom to dress the way you want. But if you're Muslim, no, we don't want you to dress like that. It's like, okay, that's interesting.
Let's talk now about the resignation and the reasons perhaps behind it. Let's first focus on that Sarah Pochin question. She came into the studio here, gave the first interview about that, and there was a huge reaction about is it the party policy?
No.
And particularly...
so why would she ask that if it's not the party policy? So was she just randomly asked that question? Are you saying that one of your MPs that represent the party that you're leading, she didn't ask you or she didn't like even try to let you know about the question she's gonna ask before she asks. Wait, that makes no sense at all. How can she just ask a question that she wants to? Because surely every question asked from the Reform MPs represents the intention of the whole Reform Party. So surely she would let you know. And if she lets you know and you say, oh, it's fine, you can ask that, but you say it doesn't represent the interest of the party, that totally makes no sense.
Zia Yusuf, of course, his cultural background. Was there anything in the fact that he felt that was a slight towards Muslims, a slight towards him, or is that...
That's exactly what it is.
Just internet conspiracy theory?
I suspect that he thought, I don't know, but I suspect that he thought it just wasn't one of our priorities. We've got other things to talk about: the cost of living crisis, the net zero madness, the channel, open borders, the population explosion, the NHS not working. And there is a debate about whether it's worthwhile spending much time talking about this or not. I mean, to me, actually, it's broader than the burqa. It's the Antifa lot that was screaming at me on Monday wearing face masks. So it's right to have a debate about this. Zia didn't like it, obviously, but no, I think before she said that, he pretty much... Listen, he's had enough. And can I just tell you that it's 100 hours a week, it's 7 days a week. It is totally unrelenting. On X in particular, it's full of vile trolls, particularly the alt-right types.
I don't know why on earth it would say that, oh, the reason why he quit is, oh, he doesn't think that's necessary for now. If you don't think, like, resignation from a party completely isn't what you do when you think they are focusing on the things that aren't really necessary at the moment. If you are part of a group and you think, oh, these people are not focusing on what's most important at the moment, because at the end of the day, Reform are known for their stance on immigration. Okay, no one can deny the amount of rhetoric they've put out there to be able to convince people that the overall immigration right now isn't good. So you can't say the Reform Party doesn't focus on it. But if you think that asking one question from an MP is bad enough, that you believe that the whole focus of the whole party has shifted away just because of one question, that's a lie. There's no way he thought that, oh, the party has completely shifted the tune away from immigration, from the economy, towards banning burqas. Like, there's no way you can actually possibly think that because of one question. That's something that you talk to the people around you. That's kind of a thing where you talk to everyone. You don't. That's not an action to resign. Isn't an action. The action to resign doesn't come from believing the party is changing its policies. That's kind of something that you actually do because you believe these people don't represent your interests anymore. If you believe that they're changing the tune away from immigration and economy, what you don't do is resign completely. What you do is sit down and talk to them. That's what you do. No reasonable person would ever, considering how long he has invested into the party, and also he's the highest donor any party has ever had in the country. So clearly, something like one question from an MP isn't enough for him to just leave all that and just move somewhere else. There's no way. That makes no sense. If that's the case, you just talk to them and let them know, hey, I don't think focusing on this is beneficial. I think we need to revert back to what we're focusing on before. Boom. You don't resign.
Who have been just outright horrific towards Zia right from the very start. And I think he's just said to himself, do you know what? There are other things I can do with my life. He's just had enough. But I've noticed over my career in politics, a lot of people who've been very successful in business, particularly entrepreneurs, they come into politics and they find it very, very frustrating. Very few stay.
Mr. Farage, can I put to you, there have been a lot of talk about internal factions, of course. Rupert Lowe left the party under a bit of a cloud. Was there a conflict of personality between Zia Yusuf and Rupert Lowe? And also, what about rumours that swirl that people can find him difficult to deal with? Perhaps the fact he's so good at data. What about the humanity side? First of all, the rift with Rupert Lowe, was that anything to do with it?
No. We all had a rift with Rupert Lowe. Rupert's behaviour was unacceptable at so many levels. So this wasn't just Zia. All of us found him impossible to work with. So, that was that. Zia, when people have exceptional strengths in some areas of their life, there are other areas where perhaps they're not quite so strong. I've got huge admiration for him, and I think he for me. Not everyone got on with him. But you know what? It's called politics. Yeah. Not everyone does get on.
Can I ask you, it's fair to say the online reaction from Reform UK supporters and voters has to be said, quite a lot of happiness in the air that Mr. Yusuf has gone. Why do you think that is? What was it about the the voter base of
I
Reform
think-
UK that may have?
I think that the persistent campaign against him on X, and much of it coming from Indian bots,
Right.
has
Indian bots. This guy is kidding me. Indian bots, really? That's really, really the best claim you have.
perhaps,
All right.
made some Reform members question him, question his motives. All of that's completely unfair. But it will have added to his sense of, I want a life.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 38. He's got money in the bank. There's a lot of other things he can do. He's just had enough of this way of life. I mean, Martin, I can tell you, there are many mornings over the years when I've got up and thought to myself, why on earth am I putting myself through this? It's not...
Yeah, but after all the investment and the time that he's put into it, it's very, very weird without some real falling out. You can't just say, okay, now I've had enough. Like, that makes no... As he said it many times, he came from an investing background, okay? Surely you would understand investing your money into something if you put in so much effort in it and it's not like it's already turning bad. Reform are on the rise right now, so clearly your investment is working. So to just quit off a whim, just I don't feel like it anymore, makes no sense.
Not easy.
Nigel Farage, you said when you read that response to the Sarah Poachin tweet, something in your waters, in your bones, told you knew what was coming. When and how did you find out?
I spoke to him yesterday morning, and he did seem very, very disengaged.
I mean, how did you find out about the resignation? Did you find out first, or was it...
No, I was given a 10-minute warning.
Right.
That it was going to come.
Wow.
And as I say, I'm disappointed, I'm sad, and he's a loss. He's a loss. There is a gap there, particularly around Doge.
Yes.
I was the one going around the counties saying every county needs a Doge, and he was the guy actually trying to put it into action. So he leaves a gap of that was...
Exactly. He just said it right there. He just gave it away. You're planning to, like, a Doge kind of thing here. Why on earth would he just quit out of a whim because he doesn't feel like it anymore? If he already agreed with you, okay, we're going to have a Doge in this country. That clearly shows he's planning to stay for the long run. And yet he's decided, okay, I'm going to stop now. If he's just going to decide on that, hey, politics is too much for me, I need to get out of this environment, he wouldn't have agreed to do that with you. He would have been planning this a long time ago. It makes no sense for you to just come out of the blue like that.
No question.
Well, the Doge work was front and centre. It was only launched this week.
Yeah.
It's a big selling point, of course, all those councils.
This week, the discussion started, the plan started to take everything into, like, to make everything start moving. It all started this week, and yet he decided he doesn't want anything to do anymore with the party this week. If that's the case, if truly he has been deciding, oh, you know what, politics is not a good environment for me, he wouldn't have he just wouldn't do that. It makes no sense.
Well, let's be honest, there needs to be something delivered by Reform.
Yeah.
Will Mr. Youssef still stay on as a part of those Doge units? Is the chairman resignation a resignation from the party full stop?
No, he's walking away. He's
Right.
walking away from the whole political game, I suspect, never to return. And as I say, there are many other businessmen before him who've come into the politics and just decided in the end they don't want the aggro, they don't need the abuse. So, no, I think that's that. I hope I'm wrong, but, as I say, I've got to find some new people.
If Zia Youssef is watching this interview, which I'm sure he will,
Yeah.
what would be your message to him?
Thank you. Thank you for coming in, for being so loyal to me, and for enabling me to travel around the country campaigning whilst you were there in London, getting the nuts and bolts in place, and allowing us to achieve, on May the 1st, the most astonishing victory.
So obviously, he's tried to twist the whole reason why the guy decided to resign there. Nobody's believing that. No one is, okay? Reform voters might believe that, but anyone that has no association and no trust in the Reform Party, they are not, absolutely not believing. He just decided, you know what, I'm not feeling this anymore. It makes no sense. But to be honest, this just kind of shines a light on the way the party actually is. Because right now, they've lost how many people representing the party for such a small party. It's actually odd that they've already lost about 3 or 4 people that are actually representing the party. They've lost like 3 MPs, and now the person that literally is almost at the head of the whole party. And obviously Nigel Farage himself was saying it, how important this person was. So considering how important it was, and for him to just walk away after all the time, investment and energy, That's very odd. But to anyone that actually still supports the Reform Party, how can you actually believe these people that cannot govern a small circle, how can they govern the whole country? But that's just my thoughts on the video. If you like the video, drop a like. It will be massively appreciated. Also, if you're new here, subscribe.